Okay, so what we want to do now is we would like to start talking about what happens when you have a TeX file. As you look in this directory, you see that you have a TeX file called enr200 kelly a0.tex, and then you also have, I got to remove these other ones because they're just probably confusing. Hang on a second. Okay. Just give me a second here. All right, let me go back up here. Clear. Okay, I'm going to remove my log and aux files. Okay, so now I have the same thing as you, okay, because I already tested this out earlier. Okay, so what we want to do is you want to type in Featherpad, okay, and you would the file you would like to look at is the TeX file. So that's enr200-kelly-a0.tex, okay? All right, now I still have hello.tex, so I'm going to remind you about that first. All right, that's one that we were looking at last time. You remember that this is how a LaTeX file is laid out, okay? That it has comments in red, it has commands in blue, it has text in black, it has other control language with backslashes. You have, yes?
Is it fine when it pulled up? It went away, but there's a notification on the file that said this file does not exist.
And it's not okay.
Okay.
So where is your file? Okay. It should be in the same directories that you're in. So this file does not exist. If you left out, you didn't have the right path. Your pathing was wrong. It needs to be enr200. So why don't you go into your file and look for it that way, okay? All right. I wonder if I should turn the overhead light. Is this visible? Can you guys see this screen okay? I'm sorry about the way this is set up right now. Is everybody able to see the screen adequately? Yeah? Okay.
There's also this TV.
Oh, they see that? Okay, good, good. Is it on?
No.
You turn it on? Okay, thank you. Okay, all right, so we were looking at the structure of a LaTeX file. Now, we were able to compile this and get a PDF last time, right? And you recall that it just said hello LaTeX. You can imagine that the file, the LaTeX file now is a lot more complicated to be able to produce this document, right? Okay. In fact, this is a 3-page long file. So I'm just going to lay them side by side here on the page. Okay, you guys have access to the hard copy, which you're probably going to want to refer to as we do this, right? And what I want to do now is I'm going to open up this TeX file, okay? We call it a TeX file, and I want to go through it with you to explain what the different parts are, okay? And how they correspond to the PDF, the completed document. So I'm going to skip over for the time being this top part, which I call the header. This top part that has the engineering logo, my picture, all this information at the top, okay? Now, when you make your document, you're going to customize it. You're going to have your face here. It's going to say assignment whatever, class whatever you do it for, okay? For this class, when you make the assignment, it's going to be assignment 2, okay? Right? And you're going to have your own name and your own email there, okay? So we'll get to that, though, later, all right? First, I want to talk about what's in here. So the first thing that you'll notice here that we're going to talk about is these bold headers, introduction, lists, and then when you go to the next page, you see color boxes, figures, okay? Those are section headers. So I want to show those to you in the file, okay? This is how you make them. Right here, here's the one marked introduction, okay? By the way, you can use Control F to search for a string of text if you're looking for something in here, okay, in Featherpad. So you see \section, okay, and then there's an asterisk, and then in curly braces is the word introduction. So curly braces, that's where you put the thing you want to have in the header, obviously, right? Okay, and it can have spaces in it, it's not a problem. You can put any text in there that you want. Lists, right, there's another one. Color boxes down here, here's another one. But this asterisk, you might be wondering why there's an asterisk there, okay? Why have that there? Well, we'll take it out and see what happens, okay? I'll take it out. You don't have to take it out of yours. I'm afraid to have you edit right now. Don't edit anything right now, okay? I'll just show you what happens, okay? So I'm up here with introduction, okay? And you see what it looks like here in the document. Let me enlarge this. Okay, so the word introduction is there, and then we have lists under that, right? So if I take that asterisk out of the section, right here, just remove it, take it right out, and then I'm gonna, don't do this, by the way, because I want to make sure you have the original for what you're doing. I can't do, come on, this won't let me delete it. Okay, no, can't do it. What's going on here? I don't know why it won't let me edit. This is weird. Okay, I need to edit. Okay, it's in edit mode. All right. Here we go. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to save it and I'm going to compile it. Save, because I want to show you what happens when you do. Okay, so you know that when you're compiling, you have to make sure you're in the directory where the tex file is. So I've saved it. I saved it under the same name. I'm thinking when you work with it, you might want to save it under your name, okay? In fact, you guys might want to do that right now. Go ahead and save your file, okay? Save as, okay? When you look under File, Save As, and then instead of my name, okay, when you see the file name, put in your own last name there and put A2. Okay, yes?
I got lost somewhere here from Featherhead.
It's Featherpad. Featherpad is the name of the editor. Yeah. Because it's like Notepad. I don't know why it's called Featherpad. Okay, so you save it out. Now you have it under ENR200 dash, whatever your last name is, dash A2, .tech, right? You should have the .tech extension to make sure this works properly. Okay?
You wanted last name, you said?
Last name. Just put your last name in instead of mine. Okay?
And then A2.
And then A2 instead of A0, right? Because that's the assignment you're going to complete, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That way, if you make some edits and you mess up, you still have the original file sitting there in the directory. You go back to it. Okay. It's always good to keep a copy of the thing you started with in case you screw up and you need to start over. Okay. All right. So let me close this out. Okay. So I just saved out mine. Okay. Save. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to type PDF LaTeX and then the name of the file, ENR200. Now, remember, you can always use tab to complete the file name. Okay? Now, if you hit tab, then it's going to complete with the .tech extension form. It's not going to say, I don't know which one you're talking about. It's going to assume you mean the one with the .tech because that's what you use for PDF LaTeX, is a tex file. Okay? So PDF LaTeX, and then I hit return, and it compiles. I would like to see what the effect is of my removing that asterisk from the section command, okay? So I go over to my QPDF view, QPDF view. You don't have to do this right now. You can if you want to, and then you can put ampersand after a space, and that will launch QPDF view, PDF viewer. So now the thing is, I don't see any change from what I did, but that's because when you use PDF LaTeX and you recompile, if you already have the PDF loaded, you have to refresh it. There's a little refresh button up in the left corner. It looks like this. Okay, and if you recompile something that you were looking at before, you have to push this button so that it will load the new version. Yes?
Sorry, I missed the step just before this. I was trying to type it out and when I hit tab, it didn't give me anything.
Okay, were you typing PDF LaTeX?
Yeah.
Okay, PDF LaTeX. Okay. And then, okay, before you do PDF LaTeX, you might want to do ls to see what's in your directory. Because you should have the ENR200 dash, should be your name, standard dash A2.tech. Do you have that in there?
It's not letting me do this. So I need to close
Okay, let me see,
And then
let me see.
well, I saved it because I had to change the name.
Yes, the one with your name. Yeah, you wanna open the one with your own name and work with that. Okay. No, you don't have to. This is, go over here.
Is that this or no?
Oh, I see. You know what it is?
Okay.
You didn't put the other side. That's it.
And then what
Okay, so
it'll-
you're gonna have to get close that and start to 10.
No, I don't.
And then next time you do, you are this, no, space. And now you don't have access to.
Okay, so if it gets stuck like that, close it, do this, put the, and then you can
Okay.
use both.
Yes.
Okay.
How do I do it?
Yes, no, you that should be fine. Go ahead. Do that. Oh, let's see. Yep. Okay. All right. Okay, now, yes.
I didn't figure out quite. I think I must have saved the name incorrectly. I must have just created another file. Because I put one with my last name. But it didn't show up.
Okay. I don't know where it is, so we can just do copy. Okay, text. NR 200-PRE. Right, dash A2.tech. Okay, that'll work, right? Okay, so then it just makes copy of the file, and then you can do PDF LaTeX to your file, okay? PDF LaTeX, and then space, and then the name of your file. Okay, your file. Okay. All right. Okay, so I removed the asterisk from the backslash section, and I wound up with a number here. Okay? So it inserts a number. So if you want to number your sections, you can take the asterisks out. Okay? Now, I don't want to number my sections, so I'm going to put the asterisk back in. But that's just for your information. Sometimes you can play around with things a little bit and say, what will happen if I do this? Okay? So let me just save that again. I'm putting it back in. Okay? And then I'm going to compile it again. And by the way, it's very common when you're doing LaTeX stuff to make a little change to a text file and then recompile and look at it and say, okay, what happened? Did that work? And then just do that again and again. But of course, it's tedious. You don't have to keep typing and typing, right? You can use the up arrow key to bring back the previous commands. And you don't have to type it again, okay? So I just do that again, and then I refresh in here, hit the refresh button, and then that one is gone, okay? Any questions on this so far? No? Yes.
I think I still need to see it.
Okay. PDF LaTeX. All right, let me just go X. Okay. What do you have? You know what I need to do? I need to see, what do you actually have in your directory? You have that file right there. Okay, so PDF LaTeX tab. Okay, space and E and R. Okay. Okay, it goes to K because our name's supposed to start with K. Then I put a U in because yours has a U in it. There it is. Okay, and then enter. Okay, and it worked. Okay, so now if you do ls, sorry, if you do ls, you should see the files that you need. Yes.
When you do the section
Yeah.
command, you have to put a title next to it?
You have to put something in the curly braces. Yes, because it's assuming that you want to put a title there, right? I don't. Actually, I've never tried to do it where I left it completely blank. I don't know what would happen, but you're supposed to put some text in there, and that's the name of the section.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
My suspicion is if you don't have the asterisk, if you have empty brackets, it might go.
It might work. It just leave a gap, right?
Either a gap or if you didn't have the asterisk.
It would just put a 1?
I would think.
Yeah, that's likely, yeah. Okay. All right. That's sections. Okay, so that's sections. All right, the next thing is Is everybody with me so far? Everybody understand how sections are set up in a document? \section is what you use, and in curly braces, I think it's actually when something's in curly braces, I believe it's a required component. You have to have something. Although what's in there, I don't know. You put some kind of text in here, right? If you don't want them numbered, you put asterisk. Okay. All right, so that's sections. Now, the next thing I would like to talk about is lists. Okay, lists. So let's look at the list. Now, if you look at the handout that you have in front of you, you'll see in the section that's labeled lists, which I'm just going to look at the top part of it, okay? It says, incorporating lists of items into LaTeX documents is easy to do, okay? There are two kinds of lists that we're going to look at, numbered lists and bulleted lists, okay? So let's look at numbered lists first. I'm going to search for this text, incorporating lists of items, in my tex file, so I make sure that I'm in the right place. So Control F, incorporating, I'll just type incorporating and see if I can find it. There it is. Okay, so this is the part that I want to see. Here is the code that we use to make that list. Okay, I've highlighted it in blue. It begins with begin enumerate. Okay, this is when you want to have a list that's got numbers in it. Okay, \begin, and then in curly braces enumerate. It ends with \end, curly braces enumerate. Okay, that's a very common command type. Okay, command syntax is to have \begin something and then \end something. Okay, and then within that is where you do the thing you want to do. So when you want to make a list, you say \begin enumerate up here, and then you end it down here with end enumerate, and then everything in between that you want to have be a list in the list, you have \item. Okay, so I would suggest that you take this document and look at it and look at the tex file that you have in front of you so you can see how they match up. That's really the best way to learn about this. There's an awful lot in tex that you can do, in LaTeX that you can do. We're not going to be able to do everything. What I want to do is get you started with this so you get the idea of how this all works. And then as you learn to do things, you're going to customize and learn things as you go. That's kind of, you learn things as you go. I'm still learning things about LaTeX as I go. I used LaTeX to write my master's thesis and my doctoral dissertation. And all the tests that I produce and documents that I produce for my classes I make with LaTeX, but I would not consider myself an expert. But you get so you know how to do stuff, and if you don't know how to make something, you know how to find the information you want, okay? Like, how do I make this? How do I make that, okay? It's not that hard because it's pretty logical once you get the hang of it. Okay, so if you want to put items in that are numbered, I put \item, and because I've used enumerate to offset this list, it will number things. So I have begin enumerate, end enumerate, and that makes a list, okay? And I have this first item is numbered list like this list, okay? But then look, right under that, I have another list, okay? Here, begin and end enumerate. So I have a list within a list, it's nested, okay? And so if you look at this document, the hard copy, you see that the main list is numbered 1 and 2, but then that nested list under item 1 automatically has A and B, okay? And so that's how it works. So you can make an outline that way, right? It's all done automatically. Now, that's great if you're fine with that it numbers 1, 2, 3, whatever, and then if you make nested lists, the next level is A and B, and C and so forth. But then you might say, well, I'd like to number it in some other way. I want to use other symbols. You can do that, okay? I'm going to show you how to do that when we look at the bulleted list, okay? The bulleted list, like, ignore this box for now, okay? Just ignore it for now. We'll get back to that. Look below this first box, okay? And you see the word note, the colored box, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's go down there. Then you see some bullets, right? You see the bullets? Those 3 bullets under there? Okay, we're going to look at that next, okay? Let me go down now. I've got my PDF here. The bullets, there are 3 bullets, right? 2 of them have circles, colored circles, the other one has an asterisk. Okay. Okay, note, I want to find the word note, so I gotta look for it. No, oh, sorry, note. Yeah, it's kind of tight here, isn't it? Sorry about that. Okay, note, shift note. Okay, find it, where is it? I'm not finding it. Okay. Let me go down here. There it is, note. Okay, so here's the other list with the bullets. Okay, it starts with begin itemize, and it ends with end itemize. So if you want a list that's got bullets, use itemize. Okay, the default is a bullet. Okay, so when you put in \item, unless you tell it otherwise, it's going to use that solid dot to specify the item. Okay, if you want to use some other symbol, like we did with this asterisk, you just put it in brackets. Brackets delineate optional arguments. Okay, if I don't have that bracketed thing there, it just puts a bullet, right? But for that second item, I have a star. Okay, that's how I specify it. You can put any symbol there you want. Okay? Any questions on this? Okay, lists. They're pretty straightforward. Okay? Okay. Next thing we're going to look at. Color boxes. Okay, the color box that we're going to look at is on the second page. It's at the top. See where it says color boxes? That's the one we're going to look for. Okay? So I'm going to find it in the text file now. Hopefully I'll find it. It's down here. Okay, it starts off with the inclusion, right? Okay. Here is the box. Right here. Begin quote, begin T color box, begin verbatim. And then all this stuff that appears in purple, all the way down to end verbatim, end T color box, end quote. Those are the commands used to make the box and its contents. So the contents, what's inside the box is all the stuff that's in purple, right? That's the text you actually see that's in the box, right? Then you've got those nested begin and end commands. So what's up with those? You've got quote, T color box, and verbatim. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to comment some of them out and we'll see what the effect is. So notice what the box looks like right now. Okay, now on your handout, unfortunately, it didn't print the color box in color. But when you look at the PDF on the screen, you'll see that it's slightly gray. Okay, right? Slightly gray. Okay, I got to look to page 2. This is on page 2, right? Okay, there it is. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. There we go. Okay, so there's the box that we're looking at, right? Okay, now if I go back to my text file over here, I'm going to make this a little smaller so I can kind of see them both at the same time pretty well. If I go back to my text file and I comment out this thing that says begin quote, okay, so now you see the text has changed to red because I put that % in front.
Do you want us to do this too?
You don't have to. You can if you like, okay? But just make sure you change it back, okay? And then I also commented out end quote, okay? Because if you come out at the begin line, you kind of comment out the end line as well, okay? Now I'm going to save it, okay? And now I'm going to compile, all right? So I go back, I use my up arrow key to get the previous command back, and then I enter, and it compiles, and I come back here and see, I say, okay, what happened? Now watch this. Everybody watching? Okay? Boom. See the difference? It's wider now, right? Okay. So have you ever seen a quotation in a book? How is it formatted? It's a little bit in, right? Okay? That's what that does. It just pushes everything in a little bit, okay? So it's a nice way to further delineate the box, okay? Now, the box that's below it, that's a different box, was already full page width. It doesn't have the begin quote and the end quote in it, okay? But this upper box did, okay? I'm going to put it back in now, okay? I'm going to go back in and uncomment that part out. I want to see the effect of something else now, okay? So I take that comment out, the end quote, and then I go back up to begin quote. Okay, now I'm going to take out the color box. Okay, I'm going to comment that out. The begin T color box and the end T color box. Okay, and I'll save those. Save. Okay, and then I'm going to recompile. Up arrow to get my command back. There it is. I come back in here, I refresh the screen. It's gone. The box is gone. Okay? So that's actually what made the box, the T color box, begin and end, right? And I put it at the beginning and the end of the stuff I wanted to enclose. Okay? All right. I'm going to put those back in now. Put it back in, uncomment them. Okay, now then there's this verbatim thing. Verbatim. Okay? I'm going to comment that out. I'm putting the box back in, putting verbatim, taking the verbatim and commenting that. Okay? I save it. Okay. Up arrow to get the command back, return, refresh over here. Okay, so I have my color box back, and it's a little bit pushed in because the begin quote, end quote is back in. But look at it now, it looks kind of weird, right? It's like it's all run on. It's not all a bunch of lines like it was before. So let's enlarge this a little bit because you have your handout in front of you and you can see what was there. In fact, I suggest you look at, whoops, that's too big. Okay. Yeah, look at it, okay? Now, it still has the same text, the CD, MKDIR, animal, CD, it all runs together though, right? And then where we had the arrows, there's that upside down question mark, like this is Spanish or something, right? Okay. Why is it there? Because that is a symbol that actually is part of control language. Okay, so let's say I want to put in a LaTeX document, I want to actually put the words \document. Not that I wanted to do something, but I want to just print it in my document. Well, if I put in begin verbatim and end verbatim, it will just print \document. It won't try to use it as control language. Does that make sense? Like, I don't want it to be interpreted as control language. I want it to just print that. Verbatim. Do exactly what I tell you to, and then stop doing what I told you to. Okay? That's what that's about. Now, why would we put that in the color box? Well, you can see what happens, right? It looks weird like that. The reason I want it in there is because I had it there because I'm trying to show what you would type to do something, right? Save. Okay, and then I want to compile this again. Okay, and then I go like this. Okay, so it's back again, right? I put the verbatim back in, okay? It uses a different font. It's saying that use color boxes to display things that you want to type. It's often with instructions or computer code or something like that. That's what it's useful for, okay? Any questions on this? Everybody understand about the color boxes? Yes?
So if you did one of the comments in front of the / on the T color box, what
Yeah.
would that do?
In front of the T color box,
Yeah, so if you were to put the comment in front of the
like this one up here?
Yeah. Would that just get rid of the box or on the text?
Yes, I did that one before.
Okay.
Yeah, but you have to do both the begin and the end, or else it won't compile. It'll say, what's this end T color box? I don't see any begin T color box. You have to have both in there to make it work, or take them both out.
Okay.
Okay? Any other questions? No? Okay. All right. So that's color boxes. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is, I want to show you the other color box just quickly, okay? You notice that on this page here, right? And you're looking on page 2, right? I better make this a little smaller here. We got the color box that's narrower because we use begin and end quote. And then we have a color box that's wider, that's below it, right? The one that's below it is wider, which means you don't have begin and end quote to make it. And then it's got that black strip at the top. okay? With some text on it, says birds.txt. Recall that that's the name of one of the files that you moved over, right? Okay? So you might want to show the contents of a file. And you might, when you're writing a report, and you might want to put in that black strip the name of the file, okay? That's something you might want to do. So let's see what that code looks like, okay? So when I look over at my tex file, I want to find that birds.txt, right? Let's see, where would that be? It's right here. I have the color box, begin T color box, and end T color box. Right here, whoops, Control Z, right there, okay, it's right here. So I've got the color box, beginning and ending it, and then right after where I specify begin color box, there's an optional argument, breakable, and then title, okay? And text, bold font, put in birds.txt. What does breakable mean? That just means if this color box is so large that it can't fit on the page, it can go on to the next page, okay? And then I'll talk about the other stuff later about the rest of it, but I just want to show you that if you want to put a title on top of a box, you can look at that as an example of how to do it, okay? Any questions on this? Okay, figures. So you notice that there's a figure here, the guy with the gears flying out of his head, right? Okay, it's nice to be able to put figures in a document. Okay, super nice to be able to do that. So let's talk about how that works. Okay, so I'm now looking at my tex file at the figures section. That's great because that's where we want to be. So I'm just going to go down here. Okay, so here is the figure. Begin figure and end figure. So the figure is enclosed within that. Here's the thing. LaTeX attempts to put figures on the page you first mentioned it. But sometimes it can't fit it. So it will put it on some other page. So I have made documents where I will say begin figure, and then I put the figure in, end figure, and then I compile it, and then I look at the document and I go, where's the figure? What happened to it? Oh, it's like 2 pages later. Oh gosh, I don't like that. Okay, you can start trying to force the figure to appear on the page you want it to by putting in this little optional argument here in brackets, okay? If you put H, that means here. Put it here. Try to put it here, okay? If the figure's too big, it'll put it on a different page. You can't help with that. You could also put in T, meaning top, or B, meaning bottom. You can put all 3 of those letters in, or some combination of them. You're trying to help LaTeX figure out where to put the figure, okay? Now, I wanted to center the figure on the page, so right after I put begin figure, I put begin center. And of course, if you put begin center, you have to put end center in as well, okay? There's end center right here, okay? Now, the actual place where I put the figure, I used a command called \include graphics, okay? With this width, and then right after that, I put the name of the file, the picture. Okay? Now, this is the kind of thing where you're not going to remember probably what the exact command is to put a figure together. So what you do is you go to a file that has this in it, and you just take it out. You copy it and put it in your file. Does that make sense? Right? I don't remember the name of this command. I just go to get a file and open it up and say, okay, I need that command that puts a figure in. Okay? Now, the actual figure that I put in gearhead.jpg. Okay? Now, the path name for this, you'll see it's written, if you look at your file, it's written like this. It's / and then it's gearhead.jpg. Okay? Right? Like this, with these curly braces around it. What does this mean? Well, you get this part. This is the name of the picture, right? The part that comes before is where to find it. This indicates here. Meaning, in the same directory where I am doing this LaTeX compilation, where I'm making the document, look for it here, okay? So that means you have to make sure that any picture you want to include is in the directory with the document that you're making. This is the safest way to do it, okay? So just keep it there with it, and then it will be able to find the picture, all right? So that's putting the figure in. Now there's some other stuff in here as well, okay? You'll see after I put the picture in, I have \caption. You can put a caption in, which is sometimes useful. You want to put a caption for your figure, right? I do something else. I have \label, okay? And in the curly braces, I labeled this, okay? You can put anything you want here. I specified figure, gearhead. Why? Because I might label something else in this document that's not a figure. There are other things you can label, okay? We're only dealing with figures for now. But once I label it, I can refer to that figure elsewhere without knowing what the number of the figure is. I don't have to know. I can just refer to it, and then LaTeX will automatically number it for me. Now, if you have a document that's very short and you only have one figure in it, you might want to borrow to do this and just put as seen in figure 1, right? You might want to do that as you're typing away. But if you have a very large document where you have multiple figures and you're moving them around and you're putting new sections in, it's a pain in the neck to have to keep track of which figure is where and renumbering them and so forth. So if you label them, they will always automatically be properly numbered. Does that make sense? Okay. This is really good for especially long documents. Okay, so the caption line is optional, as is the label. We have them both in here, okay? Now, I would like to show you how this is referred to, okay? Like if you look at the PDF of the gearhead guy, you'll see it says figure 1, okay? I didn't put figure 1 in there. It was automatically labeled, right? Okay? Then the other part, I refer to this figure further down in the document, okay? On the next page, in fact, if you look at page 3, at the top, you'll see it says, above is the sequence of LaTeX commands that created figure 1. But in the text file itself, it says, above is the sequence of LaTeX commands that created figure, ~ref, and then I put the reference, okay? The tilde is there because it forces the word figure and the number to appear together. It connects them together. You don't want to have it be that the word figure appears at the end of the line and then the number 1 appears on the next line, right? Because this is all automatically formatted. So it ties them together. But then the reference means that it will refer to that figure, okay? Now, if you put a figure in and you label it and then you refer to it someplace in the document and then you compile it, you're probably going to wind up not seeing it correctly numbered the first time. Let me show you what happens. Okay, I'm going to change the label of this figure to fig:gearhead 1. Okay, and then when I refer to it down here, I'm going to call it something else as well. Okay, and now I'm going to save this. Save. And then I'm going to recompile. Okay, I go back in here and I refresh this. Okay, let me show you what happened. When I'm on page 2, we're fine because it calls it figure 1, right? It's going to call it figure 1 because it's the first figure. It does the figure numbering correctly. However, the reference is not fine. It says that created figure ? Okay. When you put in a new reference, you have to compile twice in order for LaTeX to properly resolve all references. So I will recompile. Okay, go back in here. Oh, it's still wrong. Oh, why is it still wrong? Oh, I know why. I know why. It's because I did not change this here correctly. That's right. It's because of this. save, save, okay, recompile. Okay, I'll just recompile it again to make sure. Okay, this should work this time. Nope, it didn't work. Okay. Well, I screwed it up. All right. All right, I don't know what I did wrong. I don't want to keep you waiting, though, while I'm trying to figure out what I did wrong. I'll fix it and do it another time. I'll do it for next time, okay? All right. Okay. Now, there's one more thing that we have to do for this, and we're not going to, well, we should probably try to do it. Yeah, we'll try to do it, because I want you guys to be able to do the assignment. Okay. Now, let's go back to this file here with the listing of birds. I want to show this to you, okay? So if you look at page 2, you'll see that color box in the middle called birds.txt, okay? If you look at the actual tech file, okay, where we had the birds.txt stuff, that is back here, okay? The code that corresponds to that is here. I mentioned this to you before. Begin T color box, end T color box. Breakable, okay, then title, \text bf birds.text, okay. But you don't see the words duck, ibis, and robin there, do you? Okay, you don't see that. What you see is this line that says \lst input listing, and then in curly braces it has a file name, birds.txt. Okay? So what's going on? Well, if we go back to the directory here, remember what's in the directory. There's all these files here, okay, including birds.txt. Okay? What's in birds.txt? Let me look at it. Birds.txt. I want to show what's in the file. There are those words, duck, ibis, and robin. They're in that file. So this is what happens. So here you are, you've got this text file, right? That's your LaTeX file here, right? And then you compile it by typing PDF LaTeX, and you get this PDF, right? Now in this particular one, you have this line that says LST input listing, right? And it specifies a file name, birds.txt, right? So when the compilation gets to that line, it says, okay, I gotta find that file, birds.txt, where is it? Is there a file called that in this same directory where I am? And the answer is yes, there is, right? So what it does is it takes the contents of that file and it pastes them in here. So that's why it shows up in the file document. So why is this useful? This is useful because let's say you're taking a class. Say you're taking ENR 210, that's next semester, okay? And Professor Pilling asks you, the dean is teaching the class, and he says, I want you to write a program that does blah, 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 okay? And I want you to put your code into the document, okay? This is how you do it. You specify the name of the document, the code, and it will suck it in and paste it in for you. Okay? Now you might say, well, I can just paste it myself. Yes, you could, but you're probably constantly making small changes to it. Okay? You're constantly making small changes to it, and you have to keep pasting it and pasting it and pasting it. Okay? If you do it automatically, you're less likely to make a mistake. Just put the name of the document in there, and it will do the pasting. Yes?
If I paste it over there and then I make changes over here, will it automatically update?
No. But it will if you just put the name here. And then every time you compile, it's going to go back and get the file again and say, did you change it? Did you change it? And then we'll paste it in correctly. Any other questions? Yes? Yes.
The slash there, what is that?
You need that. What that does is it means here. Okay. Now you could specify some of the path name, but the most convenient thing to do is to keep this file in the same directory where you're making. You want all the stuff that you need, if possible, to be in that same directory. That's why we move those 6 files into that directory, so you have everything you need, okay? So the engineering logo is there, headshot, it's me, but headshot's there. The birds file is there, the gears picture is there, right? It's all there, okay? Any other questions? Yes?
How do you put your computer number?
Oh, that's something from last year. I'm sorry. I gotta take that out. I gotta take that out of this. Is that in the assignment you're supposed to do?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. I'll fix that. That. We numbered all the computers last year and I forgot to update that in the assignment. Okay, all right, now, we have like just a couple minutes left. You have to pay attention, this is important, okay? Don't start packing up, guys, okay? So last thing I was gonna tell you about is the top, okay? I mentioned at the very top, we skipped right over that, okay? If you look at the top, I would say you don't want to modify the top too much, okay? You want to keep it the same as it is. All this stuff, it's more complicated now, all right? I'm not going to go into the details here, but you want to keep it as it is, all right? This line here, I'll just point this out. It says use package listings T color box. That allows us to have these color boxes in the document, okay? That's an added-in thing. Below this top code that sets up the document, you have a table. It says begin tabular, and that's where you have this header, okay? It has the engineering logo in it. Again, you don't want to mess with that. It has the course, ENR 200, right? It has assignment, and right here it says assignment 0. You're going to want to change that to assignment 2, right? Name, put your own name in there, okay? Email, put your own email in there, okay? Okay, I have to show this over here. It's not scrolling correctly. Okay, this file here, I'm gonna make this window a little bit bigger because it's, okay, you see how it has .nkeli JPEG? You're gonna wanna take a selfie or find if you already have a headshot of yourself, that's where you would put it, okay? I will tell you that you really should try to make it approximately of the proportions that I have for mine. Like if you make a really long one, you know, it will distort the header and it won't format correctly. So try to make it this big. If you have to crop it, okay, there's a cropping tool on here. I can show you how to do it if you need to, okay? Let's see, what else? Okay, it automatically, if you leave the \today in, it will just put today's date in, which is kind of nice, right? So there is an assignment on Canvas. I'll just talk about that a little bit now, okay? That will, where you take this template and you modify it to include certain information. Right, this is the template. You're going to want to remove most of what's in here. Please do. Remove the stuff that in here that's not part of the assignment, okay? Last year I had some people submit the assignment, they put the things in they were supposed to put in, but they left all this other stuff in there. Remove it, just delete it, okay? Keep the original file that's mine so you can keep going back and look at it, okay? So let's look at this assignment here. Okay, here's the assignment. For the assignment, you need to find the last 2 digits of your student ID number. You can find your student ID number on the back of your M card. Okay, it's down there at the bottom. Okay, the last 2 digits. Then you need to go find a copy of William Shakespeare's sonnet N, where N is the last 2 digits of your ID. So if the last 2 digits of your ID are 1, 2, then you find sonnet 12. Okay, and then you need to use. You can use Featherpad to type in the first 4 lines of the sonnet into a file, okay? And I tell you what to call it. It's going to be called whatever your last name is, -sonnet, -n, where n is the number of the sonnet, .txt, okay? So it's personalized. Each one of you is probably going to have a different sonnet. This is very cultural, you know? We don't just do engineering here. Okay, liberal arts here too, right? Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to have that file in the directory with you, put your own headshot in, as I said. Then you're going to put a list in your document that includes your name, your student ID number, your hometown, the latitude and longitude of your hometown. Okay? You don't put your computer number in. I'll fix that. Okay, that you don't need that. So that's going to be in a list form. So it's a chance for you to practice making a list. Okay? The idea is you're going to practice all the things that we just talked about today, right? And then you're going to import the sonnet file contents into the new document the same way that the birds document was imported. Okay? Just change it into the sonnet instead of the birds, right? So that means that when you make your document, those 4 lines should appear in a color box automatically because you pulled it in, just like the birds file was done. Okay? You're also going to need to put in a figure. Get an image. You can take a screenshot or download an image that is the first letter of your last name. You can go online and find a cool-looking image that has that letter. Okay? And instead of the gear guy, the gearhead guy, put that picture in and put an appropriate caption in. All right? You get to decide what it is. And then you have to upload the file. I want the text file and the PDF. Okay? You don't have to provide me with all the other files. Those are the 2 that I want. I want the PDF because I want to make sure that you were able to compile it. Okay? But I will be checking your code. Do you have any questions? This is due Tuesday night. Okay, so you have a few days to work on it. I want to make sure we got through everything, you know. It's a lot to take in. We covered a lot of things today. You can come to me for help, no problem, all right? Tuesday, if you have questions, come to class and ask questions, all right? But it is due Tuesday night, so see you then. You ask good questions. It's the advantage of sitting in the front, right? It's easier to ask questions, right? Yeah. All right.
You know, with these computers, if I just hit that power button to turn it off, that's okay, or do I have to close everything and then?
You can just do that if you want. It's not gonna, I don't think, be a big problem.
It's not gonna like,
No, but you know, if you didn't save something out, it's gone. You know, right? So, is there something? Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
I probably should have asked.
Yeah. Before you. Okay. Hi. What's
So
up?
the assignment is due today. I sent you an email about it. I think you talked about it at the beginning of class. Like I couldn't create it specifically in the home. It had to be under the student. That was okay?
Yeah, I've done some.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying. Did you submit something already? You did, right? No, you haven't.
I took
Okay.
a picture and sent you a picture.
Okay, all right, so what you want to do is, it's due tonight, right? So all you do is you navigate to your home directory, okay, and verify that you're there, which you can do by either typing PWD or CD.
Right.
Okay? Then you create the directory, you navigate into it.
Right. No, I did all that. That was
Okay,
fine. The only
yeah.
thing was when I was in just home, not home/student, I
Yeah,
couldn't.
right, you can't. You can't. Your home directory is home/student. That's your home directory. You can make stuff in there.
Okay, perfect. That's what I was
Yeah.
looking for. Yeah, I got that done.
Yeah.
The other question is,
Yes.
is there anything I can do to make up for Tuesday? I already watched the video. I already did that assignment stuff. But is there
That's all
anything
you
I
have to
can
do.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be sitting out
How
here.
much of an how much will it affect my grade?
Very little because you missed just one class. It's
I
not
was
just
waiting
marked
until
that you're
today,
absent,
'cause I was
that's all.
like,
It's an unexcused
she
absence,
hadn't
but,
like announced it in class that it was a thing.
did I give you a syllabus for this class already?
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right.
I believe so.
Yeah, I would say just don't miss class again, that's all. With an unexcused absence, that's all. Yeah, you'll be fine. Okay? Oops. Yeah, you're welcome. I just realized I closed this down, I gotta stop this thing. Whoops, hang on. Just give me a second, I gotta.